Hey rich friends, in this video I want to talk to you about some common credit card mistakes that beginners seem to make when they just get started with using credit cards. No one teaches you in school or in social settings like family or friends how to use credit properly. And this is no surprise because the credit card debt in the United States is trending higher and higher. Credit card balances rose by 27 billion in Q2 2025 to a collective $1.21 trillion. Yes, you heard that right. And at the same time, we are seeing higher delinquency rate for credit cards, with about 6.93% of balances transitioning to delinquency over the last year. Close to like 7% of credit card debt, people who have credit cards cannot afford to pay down their credit cards. This is alarming. And I think many of this just comes to rookie beginner mistakes when it comes to using credit card. And that's why in this video, I'm going to go over the 6 very common early mistakes people make when making credit cards that absolutely destroys the ability to build wealth. All these mistakes can be easily fixed once you become aware of them. And that's why my goal in this video is to educate, to provide information about these mistakes so that in case you are making those mistakes, you can quickly fix them and get on your way to grow rich and build wealth. If you are new here, welcome. I am a CFA charter holder and former investment banker. I spent over 7 years advising millionaires and billionaires on how to make, keep, and grow their money. And on this channel, I love to share actionable strategies to help you grow rich and build wealth. First mistake is applying for too many cards at once. It is so easy to get a credit card these days. I don't know about you, but every single time I go to my mailbox, I receive like 2 or 3 or 4 banks offering me a credit card with an intro rate of 0%. Now, if you are unaware that this is a risk, you may just take all these offers and open as many credit cards as possible. When you go to a store, I shop at Sephora all the time. You go to Sephora, you go to Zara, you go to any store, they offer you store card. They say, oh, do you want a Macy's card? Or do you want a Sephora card? Apple offers you their card. And then you take all these cards all at once. This is bad because of something that is called a hard inquiry. Every single time you sign up for credit, a credit card, a student loan, a car loan, mortgage, any type of credit, but for the purpose of this video, a credit card, you launch what is called a hard inquiry. The company that wants to give you the credit card runs a credit check on you to get your credit, your credit score, your credit history. And every time you do this, it affects your credit and your credit goes lower. Now, if you have just like 1 or 2 hard inquiries a year, it's not so bad. But if you have like 3 or 4, inquiries, credit checks in a month, this is signaling to credit companies that, you are not very good with money. Maybe you're broke and you just need all these lines of credit to be able to live your life. And so your credit score can get a more significant hit by virtue of all those credit inquiry. There's another type of inquiry that is a soft inquiry. So this one, he doesn't impact your credit score. And this is how you know if an inquiry is a hard inquiry or a soft inquiry. If the inquiry requires you to give consent, to approve, they tell you to click a button that says approve or sign something, then that is a hard inquiry. So first mistake, do not apply for so many credit cards at once. Even though you are offered store credit cards, you can say no. You don't need, 20 credit cards or 10 credit cards. You just need 1 or 2 or 3 credit cards that meet your needs. Second mistake is carrying a balance. And we've all been there. I have been there where I've had a credit card balance for 1 or 2 months at a time without paying for it. And that has also damaged my credit score when I did it. Carrying a balance is expensive because of those high interest rates. Interest rates on credit cards are one of the highest interest rates anywhere in the world, right? Interest rates, you can range as high as 26%. 26%. If you've taken out $1,000 in credit, you can be paying up to $200 in credit. That's wild. And the thing is, these credit card companies are so smart. They only require you to make a minimum payment. Usually it's a very small number, maybe like $500 or something very tiny, $25, minimum payment, even though your balance is like in the tens of thousands. If you continue to pay just the minimum payment, what this means is that you are paying interest on that balance that you carry month over month. And when people think about compound interest, they only think about it in terms of assets. But compound interest also applies to debt, also applies to your credit card debt. So the more you carry your balance, the more you are giving the banks free money. Now, many people get credit cards to get points. You have cash back, you have all these rewards. But the truth is that the interest you are going to pay on your credit card balance oftentimes will cancel out the cashback you are getting. Like, think about it. Most credit card companies offer you like 3% cashback, 5% cashback, but then they charge you 20% on the credit. Make it make sense. It's not worth it. Always pay off your credit card at the end of every month. Now, the way you pay out your credit card balance at the end of every month is point number 3. Point number 3 is the mistake of not treating your credit card like cash. Now, if you do not have a credit card, if you had a debit card, what it means is once your money runs out, you are no longer able to buy stuff. If you only have $500 in your debit account and you want to make a purchase of $700, you are unable to do that because you do not have the money. But credit cards take away that psychology from us because, your limit is, large. Even if you don't have the $700 today, credit cards give you the opportunity to borrow the money and pay it back at another time. And most people make the mistake of not thinking about a credit card like cash. You don't want to make that mistake. You want to use your credit card only to get the points, only to get the benefits, and then you want to pay off your credit balance at the end of every week or every month at the latest. That way, you are treating your credit card like cash. You only spend money that you have. If you have $1,000 in your debit account, then it's okay to put $1,000 on your credit card because it means that you are able to pay it off. But if you have $200 in your debit card and you spend $2,000 on your credit card, you are falling prey to this mistake. Now, the fourth lesson is choosing the wrong card. Credit cards are something that actually stay with us. Your credit card lives with you for a long time. The choice of your credit card is important. Almost as important as the choice of who you marry. Okay, I'm joking. But it's a very serious choice. I'm going to talk about why that choice is important in the last lesson. So you want to stay, tuned for that. But choosing the wrong card can really set you up for failure when it comes to, managing your credit card. Credit cards have different features, but the best credit card for you is going to be a card that has 0 annual fees, that has a sign-on bonus, and that offers some form of cashback reward. There are advanced credit cards that require an annual fee of like $95 or something. And I'm not saying they're bad, but most beginners do not need those cards because those cards, they have bigger bells and whistles. You have like travel cards. They are more complex. And if you're not careful, that annual fee can become an anchor to you. It can really just be taking money out of your pocket. Now, when it comes to rewards, not all cards are created equal. Let's compare 2 cards here. Let's compare the Chase Freedom Unlimited card. Now, this card offers no annual fee, a $200 sign-on bonus, 5% cash back on travel, 3% cash back on dining, drugstore purchases, and 1.5% cash back on everything else. This card is a nice card. It has a lot of cashback rewards. It does not have annual fees. It's a very basic card, but it's good. It has a number of returns. If you compare that now to the second card I'm going to talk about in this video, which is the Bank of America cashback rewards card. Now, this card offers 3% cash back in any category of your choice, 1% on everything else. It also gives you a $200 sign-on bonus when you spend $1,000, and it also has no annual fees. Now, this card is also a basic card, but it's not as good as the Chase Freedom Unlimited. The Chase Freedom Unlimited has, different options when it comes to cash back. Whatever card you go for, the truth remains the same. If you're a beginner, get a card that doesn't have annual fees, that has some type of reward, and you'll be good to go. You want to start out with a basic card when you're just starting out with credit cards. So this way you can learn discipline. You understand your habits. You understand your needs. It doesn't make sense for you to start your credit journey with a travel card. Do you travel often? How often do you travel? Like, that travel card is going to become useless for you. So you want to start with basic cards and then upgrade as you go, instead of starting with a big flashy bells and whistles card and then later on find out that you made a bad choice. But now you're stuck. I'm going to talk about why you're stuck in a few minutes. The fifth mistake you can make is maxing out your credit card. Yes, when I got my first credit card, my credit limit was like $700, very little. And I didn't know anything about utilization or maxing out your credit card. So I would actually I'll get to like the limit before I pay it off. Again, I also made this beginner mistake. So I'm being very, very vulnerable here. But this is a mistake because your FICO score, like your FICO credit score, is made up of 5 factors. And you can see them on the screen. What you will notice here is that your utilization, that means the amount you owe, makes up 30% of your score. This is the factor that contributes the highest, the second highest, to your credit score. Your credit utilization is the amount you owe divided by the total limit available to you. If you have a credit limit of $5,000 and you have a credit card balance of $500, what that means is that your utilization is 10%. This is a good number. Credit bureaus look at your utilization. Again, it tells them if you are a higher risk or a lower risk. Think about it. Somebody who always maxes out their credit, limit definitely is at a higher risk of going broke and being unable to pay off their credit card than somebody who only uses 1% or 2% or 10% of their credit card. The rule of thumb here is to keep your utilization below 30%. And by the way, FICO checks your utilization across all your credit sources. So the key is to keep your utilization below 30% and you'll be good to go. Now, lastly, the last mistake, and this is the one that really explains why when you get a credit card, you are stuck with it. And this mistake is canceling an unused credit card, especially if it costs nothing to keep it open. From that image that I showed, you can see here that the largest contributor to your credit score is your payment history. From this image, you can see that your credit history contributes 15% to your FICO score. And your credit history is calculated based on the number of years that you've had each credit line. So if you open a credit card in 2020, now in 2025, your credit history on that card is 5 years. Now your FICO score is calculated based on the average length of your credit. Average length of your credit. What that means is that if you got a credit card when you were in college, maybe 10 years ago now, and then maybe you don't use it anymore, or you are not rich enough and you want to upgrade to a new card. And so you do the right thing, which is like, you're like, oh, I don't have too much credit cards. And so you cancel that credit and you get a new card. What happens is you've just reset your credit history. Once you cancel that card, your average credit history goes down because you've removed a large number. So if a card costs you nothing, there's no annual fee. It costs you nothing to keep open, keep it open. To keep the card in a shelf, out of sight, out of mind, but do not cancel the card. If you have a card that has an annual fee and you're no longer using the card, call up the company and see if they would downgrade your account to an account with no annual fee. But canceling a card should be your last resort. So if it does not negatively impact your credit score, you want to keep the card active, maybe spend like $5 to $10 on it from time to time, just so that it's not closed down by the bank, and you want to hold it down as much as possible to maintain your credit history. So hopefully this makes you more selective in your choice of credit cards and how you use credit cards. Taking time to understand your personal needs, your habits, and your lifestyle choices would help you inform how to use credit cards and which credit cards are best for you. And if this is something that you are still actively thinking about, then you want to watch my video on financial goals by age. That video is going to show you where your goals should be, how should you set up your life today to ensure that you reach your goal. And that decision will be very critical in how you use your credit card. Thanks for watching my video. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, stay rich and build wealth. Bye.